Good evening, viewers. I'd like to do a little overview video of my layout here. I've been doing some work on for the last couple of years or so. Got this up and running about a year or so ago. It's currently October 5th, 2024, and I got this up and running December of 23. So I just want to give a quick little overview of what I got here. Basically like a folded dog bone kind of shape here. You got one loop here, going from that wall there along the outer wall here to the other edge of the basement. It's about 24 feet. And from here to here is 2 feet wide. So here's the corner. This is where it kind of does a 90 on the other wall of my basement here. And here's the other loop. When I got this going a year ago or so ago, you may have seen some of my previous videos, this is just a single level layout. And obviously, I am moving to the next level with that and making it into a multiple level layout. So the plan is, we're going to have 3 levels. Level here. Top level is going to be about 8 inches above the main level here. This is the main bench work I started off with. And then down below, as I've already started, we're going to have a lower level, which is where my staging yard is going to be. That is 16 inches. So basically from the edge of here to the edge of the plywood that will eventually be down there will be 16 inches. And this is my first attempt with open grid bench work to build an actual helix. This total climb here drops the track down from here down to this short little section here. Get the pop out all the way so you can see. That's an 8-inch drop. So yeah, the track is, and I don't have all the track laid yet. I gotta lay some more track, obviously, but this track will loop around. It will go under the bench work here, and then it's going to do a gradual decline down, similar to what I got here. It's going to do a gradual decline down and around, all the way back around to the other spot here. And once it loops down around that decline, it'll be at that 16 inches below, and then alongside that in front will be a staging yard. You can kind of see some of my electrical work down there. That's all the DCC circuit breakers and everything. I can get into that more detail later. That's going to be changing as I rewire this anyway for the multiple levels. So yeah, the main line is going to be here. As you can see, I've kind of copied what I had on my previous setup here when it was just single level, except now rather than the track, going around back here and staying at the same level, and now it's inclining up. So from this point here all the way, and I'm going to try to follow this as best I can with my finger here, to this location here is a 4-inch rise over 16 feet, which equals out to about a 2% grade. At the same time, you have that track in the back. In front, you also have another track doing the exact opposite. It's inclining. And as you can see, if I show you how I'm going to do this, it's actually opposite sides of the main line loop. So the main line is going to start, and bear in mind I don't have this decline built yet. I got to build that still. But from this location here, the main line starts out on this main level, loops all the way around in front here, as you kind of follow my hand, all the way back around, and then it's going to loop around. Then it's going to make its first incline. Comes back around, and at this point we're basically back where we started, except now we're 8 inches above. So we have a whole nother level to traverse all the way back around until we get all the way back around, and then we hit that decline. And as we decline down, come back around, and this is where the decline I got to finish building. We end up where we left off, where we started. It's basically one big twice around plan, similar to my layout I had about 10 years ago that I tore down about 5 years ago now. So yeah, basically a twice around plan. I plan to do basically like a yard on this level, and then there's going to be bench work built here, and that's actually going to curve around back where my computer and area is here. This will obviously all get cleaned up. It's a mess right now, so I apologize for the horrible mess that it looks. It's a work in progress. But yeah, that's the plan. We're going to have our 3-level layout again like I had years ago before I had moved that out of my folks' place and built my 2-level layout that I had at a townhouse that I rented, which now, being that we're living in our house that we bought 3 years ago, I've got plenty of time to build my dream layout here. So we're off to a good start. It's slow progress, but it's getting there. So even though I don't have a complete loop yet, I am in the process of wiring the track I do have. So I do have the option to run trains. And I would actually like to do a couple of Cabride videos, just kind of showing the process, or showing what I have done so far, and kind of giving an idea for the mainline run. And this is going to be our train and my custom-made cell phone camera / camera car here. I basically have the cell phone, this is my old cell phone, set in selfie mode with a mirror. So by doing that, the selfie mode flips the camera, gives it a mirror image of the camera, but then the mirror flips it back. So now it basically is a regular standard view. I don't have to do any video editing to flip it. It's all true right from the start. And if you look at the camera picture and then you look at the view, you can see that it's the same view. So, yep, we got a Walters mainline cotton belt dash 8, and then we have a Southern Pacific SD60, SD50, one of those, also Walters mainline. I've got these two consisted. I got my track cleaner car and in the middle. Definitely going to get in the process of running that more often, as I was kind of guilty of not doing that on my previous layouts. Being that some of this track is going to kind of be hidden behind some scenery, behind some walls and that, so I definitely got to get into the regular routine of running that car to keep these rails clean, because once this is built up, it's going to be, some track's going to be pretty hard to reach, so I got to make sure I keep that car running to keep that track clean. So but yep, like I said, just want to do a little quick overview what I got going so far. Been a lot of changes within the last year with this layout, and more to come. So just wanted to kind of give a little introduction before I start posting more videos. But I would like to throw a couple Cabride videos at you. I did one earlier today, which I will actually include after this. And then I'm going to do this one now, which is basically the opposite direction of what we ran earlier today. We're going to be starting at the top here and just kind of do a full run of this incline part of the main line. We'll loop back around. We'll come back on the lower level here, around the section of double track, come through the crossovers here, back around. And then normally we would do when I get this incline built here, we would go back up. But for right now, we're just going to kind of stay on the same level, because there will be a level track here that's actually going to take me back into my track that will go down the helix to my staging yard. So, and as you can see, I've reworked some of this interlocking. This was on the previous setup, except now that this track's not the opposite side of the oval anymore. It's part of the different line that goes down to the lower level. And yes, I do have some operating signals. You're going to notice in Cabride videos we're going to be running red signals. It's because the CTC is operational, but it's a work in progress as well. So I've remounted some signals. I actually got a couple new signals I'm going to install. Added in some more signals up here. These are all the Atlas. So if any viewers have seen any of my previous layouts knows that I'm big into the signaling. So there will definitely be, the main line is going to have its complete signaling. So with that being said, let's get to this Cabride video, and hope you enjoy. And like I said, there'll be more updates as we go here. So stick around. All right, let's go ahead and start our Cabride down the main line here. Here we go. train right there. Alright, that's the current end of the line right there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the car up and just kind of do a little like dry run here. So when this track gets finished, this will continue on and around, down. You know, we're still on the descent of the helix here, and you get down. At this point, we're down 8 inches from our main level. Then as we get out of the helix, we're going to straighten out. I got some of the track in place here. And as we get down, we'll actually go underneath the bench work right here. And the track will continue straight and then kind of curve off to your left. And that's where it's going to continue its descent down to the lower level staging yard. So that will that'll be completed once I get the rest of the main line up and running and all that. And for that, I got to purchase more track. So it's going to be a little while. But like I said, it's a work in progress. So I hope you enjoyed this Cabride video. And like I said, stay tuned, more to come. focus there. There we go. Alright, so one more thing I'd like to add before I close out this video. This is a look at my layout editor on my JMRI. This is what the layout looked like when I had it just a single level. Obviously, this whole area over here, all of this has changed drastically in adding in the second level. So yeah, this has yet to be updated, but obviously this will be updated as I get my switch machines and block detection, all that rewired. You can see that I've got, you know, all my signals and everything, switches, all that stuff is labeled. Whatever reason, when I wired this block, which is actually that first part of that incline as we circle around, even with no train in the block, it's showing occupancy, and I think it's just the way I got it wired. I got to make it more of a direct route rather than a loop of wiring. So, but I just wanted to kind of brush over that. I do have a second monitor hooked up to this as well that I did have operational, and that's right here. This is basically, oh, get into focus there. That light is, reflection of that light's kind of bad there. So let's do this. There we go. So that's my like CTC panel for all my signals and everything. I actually did have this operational. I just kind of did a pre-mock-up of labeling. It's actually horrible labeling. I'd like to get a label maker and label those switches, but these top switches here, if you flip them one way, it clears one signal. Center is stop, and then flipping that way, it clears another signal. And then these are my switch machines and all that, which those do activate. Those actually do trigger the switch machines. And then the panel up here displays the switch position status, and those red circles will actually light up green when the signal's cleared. All that good stuff. These signals are just they're just a flip switch. You don't have to press this button to actually clear them, so it's not 100% like a CTC panel, but at least it gives me a little bit of a feel, or I can at least have control of my signals and control them like a CTC panel. But yeah, and then this is just a wooden panel. This frame is actually from my old layout that I had at my folks' place. It used to be my old panel. I just repurposed it a little bit. And then underneath is, I have SE8C signal decoders that I was using for all my signals. I'm actually switching to the Railroad Circuits Signalman decoders now because I like how those do the fading effect. So basically these are just an interface for all my toggle switches, set up as sensor inputs to my LocoNet. And all that does is it hooks into the LocoNet, which in turn feeds to the computer. The computer does its thing and sets everything on the layout. And of course everything on the layout also communicates back to the computer, which in turn shows my panel information and the status of switch machines and all that. So neat little setup I got. Obviously it's going to change drastically. This is going to change. I'm going to have more on there because we're going to have more track to signal and set up. So I know on my previous layout my previous 3-level layout, I had a push button panel where you push the button and it basically is like a route for the ladder track in the yard. It sets up the track you want. It sets up all the machines or the turnouts to that route. So just a little insider look, the layout control. Another thing I'd like to show you real quick is I kind of mentioned the wiring earlier. These are all my DCC circuit breakers, and I got a BDL 168, which is a block detection block detection board. I have 2 of those. There's one up there. There's one down there. Those are actually going to get relocated. I'm going to rewire this layout a little bit to kind of better facilitate the new setup. That's a BXPA1. That's a auto reverser, block detector, pretty much the whole works. This layout will have a total of 3 reversing sections. And then there's the 2 PM42 circuit breaker boards. So all that is fed from up above here. Got a little swing down panel. Let me demonstrate that real quick. A couple of screws that come out. Pull those down. Someday I plan to maybe put a little like locking bolt on here so I can just unlock this bolt and drop this down. But here's a little swing board. And that's the main power center of the whole layout. I got power supply, Digitrax PS2012E. That powers my DCS 210 and one of my DB150s. Then this 5 amp power supply here also powers the third booster. These two I've had for my previous layout. This is a new system I bought. Basically just kind of try out something new. I do plan to incorporate all 3 boosters to power the layout just so I know I got adequate enough power. Honestly, it's probably a little overkill, but working in the electrical field, you can never overkill having adequate power for everything. It's better than overloading, that's for sure. And of course, all of my input power to all my boosters are fused for safety, of course. So, and then everything just kind of runs. I got terminal block there, loco net, all that stuff runs down the wall. Obviously that'll be hidden with scenery, and then outlet and all that stuff plug in. So figure I'd just give a little inside look as to how I got everything wired. I chose to make this little drop down panel so the boosters and power supplies, everything are up above, out of the way, rather than have them under the layout. You know, obviously with the drop down panel, easily serviceable. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, stay tuned. I'll have more to come. A lot of work in progress with this one, and I will post more videos as I get more work done. So thanks for watching. Have a good one.